What's up everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about Yae Miko and Tartaglia. I know there's been a lot of questions in the community and some content creators are promoting one, others are promoting the other. So at the end of the day, is there really a definitive answer? Which one's best to pick up for you? And going forward, what is going to be probably the better investment? I honestly couldn't tell you. Really, a couple patches from now, a character could come out, synergize insanely with Tartaglia and leaving Yae Miko in the dust, or likewise someone comes out and just makes Yae Miko even better, because Yae is honestly on track to having the Coco Me fairy tale story of being a character initially released to not be so well received to having a pretty decent glow up. Now, is she amazing right now? I wouldn't say she's amazing, but she's definitely much more comfortable to play. She slots into certain teams extremely well. One I have on screen right now is Yae Miko, Nahida, Raiden Shogun, and Zhongli. Now don't worry, this is not just a troll triple archon flex team. You could replace Raiden Shogun with, let's say, another electro applicator, anyone who has off-field electro application. In fact, you can even throw Beidou in there and have the role of a shielder and an electro applicator taken care of in one, and then you can maybe run, I don't know, like a Kazuha or something. But if you run right now Fischl and then run Kazuha in Zhongli's position, you at times will find it a little difficult to stay alive, especially in the current iteration of Abyss 12. So yeah, keep that in mind. This team is put together because of the resources I have, and you really have to kind of just take what you have currently and make it work. But don't worry, the key two pieces here is going to be Yae Miko and Nahida. Now, these two together make a great combo. Many would say Yae and Nahida is probably one of the better synergized Electro Dendro pairings, especially since Yae Miko does have EM scaling in her kit through her elemental skill, and Nahida provides a ton of that through her burst skill. So at the end of the day, when Yae Miko takes the field, you can essentially just supercharge Yae Miko through Nahida's EM buffing, leaving Yae Miko free to build a more offensive option. You don't have to run EM Yae Miko for her sand piece. Of course you could still, but you're getting a little bit of diminishing returns here, but it's fine. The flexibility is really where it's at. Now, if you are able to build attack on Yae Miko, what ends up happening is she becomes a much more effective on-field driver as opposed to just leaving her in her off-field electro applicator role. Now, of course, she still works in that way. I've demonstrated that in my Kaching team, but it's just another option, and as you guys know, more options means more versatility. More versatility means that she's not locked into one unique playstyle, which for any character that people are potentially going to be spending over 10,000 Primo Gems on is a good and welcoming factor. Now, apart from this, Yae Miko doesn't really shine too much outside of these specific Dendro teams. Now, if you want to be copium and play her in other ones, of course she can be paired in Electro Charge teams, that's no problem, but those teams do come with their own problems, so I don't want to really oversell Yae Miko's versatility in a multi-reactional compositions, which now brings me to our next character. So as you guys can see, I'm switching teams over here to my Tartaglia team. This Tartaglia team most people are likely familiar with, but I just want to highlight that Tartaglia is one of the oldest character in Genshin Impact, not by his biological age, but by the time he was released. For a character that was released all the way back, I believe in patch 1.1, this is his fourth rerun. I think Tartaglia is really going under the radar comparatively to a lot of the older characters like Hu Tao, Ganyu, and whatnot. He's definitely complex. I wouldn't say that he fits to the narrative of the characters released back in 1.0. If you were to line all the characters up and try to get someone to randomly guess when Tartaglia was released, just looking at this character, even through constellations, it's hard to tell that he was released in 1.0. I think a lot of people would maybe guess 2 point something. I don't think many people would guess 1.1, literally the second patch of the game. But yeah, enough of that. Tartaglia right now, how does he function? As you can see on screen, he doesn't use any character that are recently released. Now, does that mean he cannot? Absolutely not. Like we said, Nahida is one of the most versatile characters released to date. She can pair with anybody, right? She can even pair with Geos. She's great. But synergistically, how does Nahida's synergy compare to these traditional teams? In my honest opinion, I think these traditional teams just feel a little bit better. They flow a little bit better. But Electrocharge and Tartaglia definitely has room for a Nahida in there. What ends up happening is you got some weird Quicken as well as Hyper Blooms going on in those compositions. One of the teams that I'm interested in is Tartaglia, Nilou, Nahida, and likely Kazuha of some sort. So that team isn't necessarily Tartaglia exclusive, simply because you just need a second Hydro to fill that slot. Another one that comes to mind for most people is going to be Ayato. Now, does Ayato feel like the superior option in that team? I don't know. Honestly, I ran out of resources before I can build Nilou, but that is just something out there for you to consider. Tartaglia is definitely not out of the meta. A lot of people will want to write him off as saying he's too old, his kit feels too clunky, he doesn't feel fun to play because of how limiting his elemental skill is. Now, I'm not going to deny that it took me months and months to finally get used to it, to get a good feel for it, and to finally just accept that as part of his kit. Now, if you have C6 Tartaglia, that's a whole different story. We're not going to talk about that, but just for C0 Tartaglia, he definitely feels great still in these traditional teams. Now, if you want to be copium and say, oh well, you know, like the new teams and metas also super favors Tartaglia because of Burgeon, right? Burgeon, like, yes, but like I said, Tartaglia isn't going to be your only option. Now, back to the example with Yae Miko as well. Yae Miko isn't your only option either, right? You can easily take out Yae Miko and put in Keqing, and this is still going to be a great Quicken and Aggravate team. Raiden Shogun would then be the awkward unit here because I had her in here originally to supercharge Yae Miko's burst skill, so this team's going to have to switch, and likely Yae Miko is just going to drop into this position, which I have in my other Keqing team. So it's not like to say that Yae Miko is the definitive answer to pairing with Nahida. There's a plenty of electro characters that pair extremely well. It's just that Yae Miko has that extra bit of synergy through her EM scaling elemental skill, allowing her to build a more offensive Sands due to Nahida's passive skill. That's pretty much it. I don't want to oversell either of these characters. I want to reiterate that. And yes, this is a video that's made to help you decide who's better and more suited for you. So here's the verdict, right? If you already hyper invested into Nahida, which I'm assuming a lot of people has, Yae Miko is actually not a bad option. But if you're somebody new and you weren't able to pick up Nahida, or you don't like Nahida's playstyle, or you just want to expand on your team options and rosters, you don't want to play the Dendro comps, picking up Tartaglia definitely gives you access to those more traditional teams. Yae Miko, you should be looking forward. There are some teams that Yae Miko can play with in the past, but I wouldn't recommend pulling Yae Miko if you're going to play with old team comps. Tartaglia certainly has those ones covered, and as you guys have noticed, the two teams I've constructed, they don't conflict with each other at all, right? Let me just bring Yae Miko back here. So these four characters has nothing to do with these four characters, which is amazing. A lot of people will want to drop Zhongli here and put in Kazuha, which is fine. Then I guess I'll just take Zhongli over here, but this is not an optimal team. If one of these teams would need swirling, I do think it's going to be the one over here with Tartaglia, because you likely want to swirl Pyros with Viridescence to get that huge damage boost for your Xiangling burst. So this one, you just have a buttload of damage. Nahida's Tri-Purification, Yae Miko's turrets and her burst, as well as Raiden's burst. Like, yeah, like having a Kazo here would be nice, but honestly, survivability sometimes become an issue, especially in 12-1 with the Hounds. I mean, even Zhongli won't save you, but the good thing with Zhongli teams is, apart from that chamber, the other ones you never take damage because of Zhongli's shield. So with that said, I hope you guys found this video useful, because this really isn't the easiest decision to make, and I don't make poll or skip videos very much often anymore, but this one definitely had a lot of people asking me what the verdict is. Now, here's the verdict, okay? If you want to play with new comps, Dendro comps, and going forward, you prefer Electro, and you have another Electro character already hyper invested, Official, Raiden Shogun. I don't want to say Keqing, but if you have Keqing, then drop Yae Miko into the support DPS position. You're not going to be using her on field. Keqing is much better for that. But if you want to play with more traditional comps, then, you know, go with Tartaglia. You have all these old characters, or you want to build these old characters. You picked up a Kazuha, you have Xiangling Bennett, all the good stuff, but you haven't really snagged up many Dendro characters. You know, Tartaglia is probably your boy, and with him being an older character, I don't want to say do not expect synergies coming out and do not expect new things, but you could be pleasantly surprised. He's definitely a character that creeps up on people in metas and comps. He's not the first one that pops into mind, especially for theory crafters as well, because he's not new, so there's no point in theorizing stuff for him to get clicks, and this is his 4th rerun. Another 5th rerun is not going to get people too excited for him, so there's that. Information about him doesn't really come out and get published much anymore. You really have to go figure everything out on your own, experiment and figure it out through maybe communicating with Tartaglia Reddit or Discord servers. I don't know, but yeah, he's definitely somebody who's stayed consistent and under the radar throughout the different metas that have come and gone. Very consistent character, and I don't think you're going to regret it investing to him if you're willing to put in the time to learn and deal with his unique playstyle. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Walrus, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Till then, urge y'all to stay safe and peace. Bye.